Hi, this is Eternal King bringing you another gaming video today. So, kind of continuing on with our video on Valkyrie Chronicles, I wanted to look at a different kind of, tactical JRPG. So, in this instance, we are looking at Felseal, Arbiter's Mark, and it is a lot like Final Fantasy Tactics. So again, if you don't know, Final Fantasy Tactics was a grid-based JRPG with a top-down isometric view that was very stats-driven, it was very classes-driven, and it was very tactics-driven, where you controlled a large army of units who all happened to have their own unique abilities and attacks and things of that nature. And then, of course, they were fully customizable with whatever classes you wanted to assign to them. So I'm expecting this indie game to essentially be very similar to that. So that's kind of the impetus of the video. But I also kind of wanted to talk a little bit about something a little, more high-minded, if you guys are up for it. There's basically been two defining principles of the way that I have run my life. There has been what has been referred to as stoicism and minimalism. So minimalism is been a big part of my life because it essentially dictates that you don't need to own many things to be happy. I think this is a naturally healthy mindset. You only need enough articles of clothing to clothe yourself comfortably for different occasions. You only need enough computing technology to run the games that you want to play. You only need to have a vehicle if your life demands it. And then the kind of vehicle that you have is of course going to be dictated by the needs of your life. You might need a 4x4 if you're spending a lot of time out driving down dirt roads. But then otherwise you might just need a motorbike to get around. Like it really is somewhat dependent on a variety of elements, right? So that's minimalism, right? You only need what you need to get by, and you only need certain things to be happy, and it's a very simple principle. Moving on from that simple conversation, you have a much more complicated thing to live your life by, and that's stoicism. Stoicism basically states that you don't want emotions to dictate your life. When bad things happen, don't get mad, do not feel sad, simply act like a statue would and let those, emotions bounce off of you, as, rain would bounce off of a statue. There's only one problem with stoicism. In my opinion, based on having spent enough time letting these things dictate my life, and it's that it doesn't work. Simply put, I don't think that stoicism works. And I'm going to tell you why. Imagine that you are essentially a dam, right, in holding back a flowing river. Now, under the traditional concepts of stoicism, you must maintain that dam. You must hold back the water that is the misfortune of your life. So every time it rains or it pours, more water gets added to the river. The currents get stronger, and they chip away at your dam, and they chip away at the foundation of your stoicism. Your ability to hold back your emotions, and they eventually that water will erode through that dam. It's inevitable. That's simply how life is. The only people who say that stoicism works are people who have very little rainfall in their life. They are people who are already exceptionally wealthy. There are people who are already exceptionally successful, and they just don't have bad things happen to them. Therefore, it's very easy for them to hold back the, river of their emotions. It's exceptionally easy for them because there's just nothing bad happening to them that is severe enough for them to get emotional about. And of course, there's lots of things you can do to make the wall of your life, of your dam, higher or stronger. You can use pharmaceuticals. to, deal with anxiety or deal with depression or what have you. And this is a tactic that you can use. Very common tactic. You can clean obsessively, not cleaning with a purpose, but cleaning obsessively to distract yourself from what you're doing. You can game obsessively to distract yourself from what you're doing, which is why Stoicism appeals to gamers, because it basically uses compartmentalization and a technique we're already familiar with to divide up the elements of our life. So it's like, okay, well, when I'm gaming, I'm happy, or I feel okay. Therefore, if I just keep gaming, I'll never be angry. And doesn't work. Anyone who has real bad stuff happen to them in their life will tell you that simply does not work. Instead, what I have replaced Stoicism with in my life as a guiding principle is something closer to Zen, right? So modern, 1960s Zen, kind of explained by Alan Watts, I find it far more useful as a guiding principle than Stoicism. Personally speaking, I find it's much better because it incorporates a lot of principles. Like, for example, imagine that instead, if you are a dam holding back the river of your emotions, what happens if you're a levee, right? If you're a levee, then the water can pass through you. It can pass, the boats, which are the different occurrences in your life, right? They just pass through the levee. You are now a gateway, right? You're a gateway to the occurrences in your life, as opposed to trying to be a dam holding them back. And I find that this is simply much more effective. And you can agree or disagree. Yeah, I simply find that this is much more effective to just let these occurrences pass through your life as quickly and easily and pain-free as possible, rather than trying to hold back everything that you're supposed to be feeling. Pretty simple, really. And I have found that this is far more effective. I find that I naturally, without really trying, want to do more things, small things, that are healthy. I find that I get less worked up about things. Like, it used to be, say, for example, there's a job that you really want, and, I have a decently developed career, but I'm always looking for new opportunities. And so you're looking for this job that you really want. And then you interview with everybody and everything's going well and you've done everything you're supposed to. You have a beautiful resume, a beautiful portfolio, everything that is in your power to control, you have taken upon yourself to handle and deal with, simply put. So you've done everything you're supposed to. At that point, you have to begin letting go of the occurrences that are happening in your life. It's simply the case that you have to do so. So yeah, again, that is, I guess you could say I replaced the art of Stoicism with the art of letting go. That is it. Instead of trying to feel or stop myself from feeling anything, I'm simply accepting that these things have happened, and then letting go of any sort of negative feelings I would have directly related to that. And I find that works better for the, exceptionally wealthy people, the successful people. They can use Stoicism and just never have to deal with anything bad that they're feeling, because they have, again, their dam is high enough, the rainfall is insignificant, and they have enough, pharmaceuticals and coping methods to never feel anything ever again. They are able to compartmentalize what they're feeling forever, essentially, which is great for them. For me personally, that's just never going to happen. Just objectively speaking, that is not happening. So beyond that, I would say that that swap has been pretty positive for me. Like, it's been pretty successful overall. I feel much better about it. In terms of this game, I'm mostly just playing it out like a normal Final Fantasy Tactics style experience. And, when you're playing things out like a normal Final Fantasy Tactics experience, you're just trying to keep your life totals above, lethal in the early stages. You don't want any one of your characters to get polished off if you can help it. But beyond that, that's the main concern. I'm gonna try to hit both of these guys at once if I can with a spell. What about you guys? What are the guiding principles of your life? I've told you mine, which is minimalism, and now, instead of stoicism, letting go of things we can't control. What do you guys use to sort of cope as much as possible? Because again, there's many schools of thought in terms of like the best ways for men to be non-toxic. There's no like one size fits all approach, in my opinion. Now I'm supposed to stand on this trapdoor so enemy reinforcements don't come out, so I'll just pop a potion while I do that. The mage might drop. That seems like that's very likely to happen. Yeah. Oh, okay, got lucky. Because of the blind. That blind coming in pretty clutch there. And then we could polish off this guy. Obviously we want to heal up our mage. Little bit of luck never hurts. And then the mage can move and basically put down an elemental spell in the same spot. Okay, that's fine. We should be basically golden from here, as far as I'm aware. Okay. Yeah, we get. So you also want to take down the model count if you can. Because obviously if you take down the model count, that means you're going to essentially be taking a lot less damage per turn. And it's just like naturally going to be a good thing. I don't know if I just have to keep sitting here on the trapdoor, but I guess we'll just do that for now. Whoa, the damage. Holy, what? Is he just gone forever now? One of your allies has fallen. Fallen allies will be available again next battle, although they will have sustained an injury. Okay, sure. It doesn't seem like it's game ending or anything. I was gonna say, like, if this was like Final Fantasy Tactics and they're just gone forever, that would be brutal. Absolutely brutal. Pretty simple so far, but again, like, Tactics kind of started out pretty simply as well, in my opinion. Okay, we can just self-heal here. But, I don't know. I find this kind of game soothing. I think we've talked about this before, but, like, games don't have to be complicated to be good. If you think about something like Concord, for example, Concord was, you know, a pretty well-known massive failure by Sony. Because they essentially threw a bunch of money at a title and nothing else, right? There was no common sense given to the production beyond just money being thrown at the problem. One injury, that's fine. But I would say that, you know, this game, for example, which is trying to be like a Final Fantasy Tactics style experience, an indie experience, you know, is $5 on Steam. It is literally 1 gigabyte of data and is probably 10 times more enjoyable to play than something like a Concord. Because it limited the scope of what it was trying to do. It did not trend chase. Obviously, Star Wars Outlaws by Ubisoft is like another title that is absolutely getting flogged by people right now. So, just because you have money that you can throw at something, and just because you have a large development team, and just because you have a lot of art assets, and you have a big, you know, production line, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to create a unique or interesting gaming experience. It is entirely possible that a 1 gigabyte indie game can be better than, you know, a 50 gigabyte you know, multi-million dollar, several year gaming production. We've seen this before. We saw this with the Xbox 360 Summer of Arcade and Super Meat Boy and Fez and Darkest Dungeon and Faster Than Light and just like all of these tiny indie titles, that are essentially, oh, this is nice, I like this. Can I do anything to let him drop his injury? Learn abilities. Mender, Mercenary, and Wizard. So these are the 3 classes I have access to right now. Earth and Thunder costs 200 AP. Learn Earth and Thunder. Okay. Pretty easy. Do I have to set it on him? Oh, I can set heals on him? Okay, he's already got heals. That's pretty good. So he gets magic and heals. Nice. That's really powerful. That's how tactics work too, is if you don't know, that you could essentially choose 2 class abilities from the same, on the same character. So in this case, we can also set Elementalism on our Mender. It seems like they're a little cross-functional, your starter characters, which is nice. Let's see if our Mender can learn anything. Abilities, learn, Mender, heal 1, Blessed 1. Every time a character uses a single target healing ability or item on a target other than themselves, they are healed for an additional 0.5 amount or mass heal. Restore 1 times mind HP in a small area. I think I want mass heal. Like, that seems good. Yep, seems good. Yeah, so still got this kind of like throat thing going on. Typically, it's very common that after a very stressful moment has ended in your life, that your body allows itself to get sick. Attack down, yes please. Yeah, it's exceptionally common that after something... Chivalry. Okay, she's also a knight. That seems good. I'm not too confident on the weapon system yet. Like, is this better? No, that's definitely worse. She's got a buckler. Can I... Okay. Nope. I don't really have any equipment I can stick on people yet, I don't think. Can he have 2? Which one's better, the dagger or the hidden knife? Attack 44, attack 38. Yeah, that's more damage. Hidden knife is more damage. Okay. See what he can learn. We have Scoundrel, Dirty Hit, Fleet of Foot. Grants Fleet of Foot and removes Root from the character. Unit with Fleet of Foot will have an increased movement of +1. Steal buffs, steal item. He's very thief-oriented. I think Fleet of Foot sounds good, like just having your Scoundrel be a little more slippery. Set abilities. Okay, you just stick. I'll stick Warcraft on him, along with Thick Trickery. Okay, I think that works. That pretty much works. Okay, and this is, of course, the classic Final Fantasy Tactics class change system. Mercenary. These fighters are well-versed in all manner of Warcraft. So I wonder if that's similar to like a Squire, a Knight, Scoundrel, he already is, Mender, Wizard, and that's kind of like all we get right now. So like basic classes, so I don't see any reason to swap yet. Knight. It's possible as well that it's worth keeping certain people one class just until they develop some of the passives. So like obviously Anadine and Kyrie are both like mercenary, but like they might pick up useful passives from finishing the mercenary tree that they can then apply later. We'll have to see, right? Class change. You know what? I will stick. I'll stick her to knight just for funsies, and then you can keep Warcraft on the secondary. Anyway, that should be good enough. Looks like you can patrol if you want to. Interesting. I'm assuming that there is like a save menu as well. Yeah, we'll do one more battle. Yes, traditional save slots, like old school gaming stuff. Let's see how this goes. But yeah, you let me know kind of for you when it comes to coping, what works better for you. As a coping method, do you prefer to keep your emotions at bay, or do you prefer to let them kind of flow through you in such a way that they no longer affect you? There is a substantial difference between the two, in my opinion. I find as introverts, as gamers, we are naturally predisposed to wanting to compartmentalize and hold back what we're feeling, and that can lead to a lot of potentially toxic behavior down the line. Not intentionally, but as the kind of, river of our misfortunes pile up, as the as the tides of our lives, crash and the waves crash upon us, it is understandable, very understandable, that you might feel naturally bitter or frustrated, despite trying to hold back everything that you're feeling. And so these things, this water kind of leaks through your dam, right? Like little bit by little bit, these little leaks that make you bitter and resentful and unhappy and naturally unpleasant to be around. This just kind of happens. And you can use pharmaceuticals to try to get past it, like prescription medications, and you can use, again, video games to try to block out your emotions, or heavy exercise or excessive cleaning, or anything that you do that is your coping mechanism. You will find that eventually those resentful feelings will leak through. I find this with everybody. So I do encourage you that if you want to try to cope with whatever you're dealing with without resorting to brute force approaches like prescription medication, which I have tried, paid therapy, and all of these things, to simply remember that anything that you're dealing with is transient, to remember that anything that bad happens to you cannot harm you, that you only receive what you put out there, things like that, and that you cannot be a good person by trying to be a good person, and you cannot be virtuous by stating your virtue. You simply must be those things as naturally as breathing. And if you do that for long enough, and if you do that well enough, other people will begin to see that change within you, in my opinion. And then the people who have stated their virtue outright and have stated their kindness outright, and look at me, I'm so good, look at how much work I've done on my life, look how much better I am as a person, those people aren't in fact better at all. Because you cannot be better if you try to be better. That is, kind of the Zen way of thinking. Why do you want to be better? Why do you feel that you must be better? Why are you trying to improve? It's this kind of circular logic tricks that you use to trick your mind into essentially being content with who you are, and that contentment itself results in you behaving in a healthier manner. It's a fairly complex concept, actually. But yeah, this has been, a little fun trip down, kind of a Final Fantasy Tactics style experience, and also a little bit of like fun philosophy as well, if you guys are into that. This is Eternal King, signing out.